What is going on, Trash Talkers? We are back with another episode for you. Today, we're going to be doing another Tiermaker list for you, but this time, we're talking about the quarterbacks throughout the NFL. We're going to rank each one A through F. All that and much more coming your way right now! All right, Nick. Well, as we showed yesterday, we have some rankings that we want to get out of here, and we have A through F. We're going to talk about the quarterbacks today. I'm pretty excited about this, and just so everybody's clear, we didn't include the rookie quarterbacks except for Trevor Lawrence because he's the only one guaranteed that we know of at this point that will be in a Jacksonville Jaguars uniform starting day one.
Yeah, it seems as if he's pretty much a lock for the number one spot. Urban Meyer said a couple days ago that they're leaning towards Trevor Lawrence. So, I mean, they're not officially saying that he's a Jacksonville Jaguar, but I think we all know by this point he's guaranteed to be their day one starter, and so that's why we have him on this list. But everybody else, for now, we're going to keep guys like Sam Darnold there, Jimmy Garoppolo, the guys we know as of now are going to be on the team next year. So, let's head on over to our list, starting with the F tier.
All right, well, starting off with the F tier, we have players like Jalen Hurts, Daniel Jones, and Drew Lock. And I know, it's tough to put these players in the F tier, but these guys haven't proved anything in the NFL. And I mean nothing. And they have had chances. So at this point, they have to be F tier because somebody had to be. And these guys, they had weapons around them. They still couldn't win. And you can give all the different reasons that you want. At the end of the day, these guys have it made, and they're going to have to prove it now. I mean, Jalen Hurts, they have to show why he has to show why the Philadelphia Eagles were okay with moving on from Carson Wentz. Daniel Jones got John Ross and Kenny Golladay added to his wide receiving core. And Drew Lock, the wide receivers that they have out there are absolutely incredible. You have Noah Fant at tight end. You have Cortland Sutton. You have Jerry Jeudy. And you have Tim Patrick. Those guys are phenomenal. Can Drew Lock be the guy for you? I mean, so far he has not showed that he is capable, but he's shown streaks. I think these are the F tier guys. And if you want to take the positive, they can only go up, right?
Absolutely. F tier is a tough one because, in all honesty, I don't think anybody is truly F tier. If you're at the NFL level, you're somewhat competent. And I mean, Jalen Hurts, he had some successes in college, but they came at Oklahoma. They didn't come at Alabama. He didn't work out there. So this just could be a system where he just doesn't fit. But again, it is too early to tell that right now from what we have seen in the NFL. It's been a rough start. He was thrown into some weird situations where it was unexpected. Doug Peterson was kind of playing by his own rules at that point, and so that's why Jalen Hurts got off to a rough start, or Jalen Hurts could just not be NFL caliber. He might just be a career backup. So right now, Jalen Hurts has got to work through his growing pains. Same thing for Daniel Jones and Drew Lock. These guys have had a couple years in the NFL as starters now. And I mean, Drew Lock last season, he looked good, but at the numbers, he had under 3,000 yards in 13 games and had 16 touchdowns with 15 interceptions. That's almost a 1-to-1 ratio, similar to Jameis Winston. I don't think many people are considering Jameis Winston a top-tier quarterback. So these guys got to work through their growing pains. Daniel Jones got some more weapons this offseason. Drew Lock has a little bit more experience, and he's getting Cortland Sutton back next year. Who knows who they'll get in the draft. So there is a lot of upside for all three of these guys in the NFL.
Yeah, and just before we move on, you take a look at, you talk about Jameis Winston and Drew Lock. Don't forget, Jameis Winston at least threw 30-plus touchdowns and 30 interceptions. I mean, he doubled both marks. So you take the good with the bad, but at this point, Drew Lock, DJ, and Jalen Hurts all have a lot more to prove. All right, next up we have the D tier quarterbacks, and it goes as follows: Tua Tagovailoa, Teddy Bridgewater, Derek Carr, Sam Darnold, Andy Dalton, Jared Goff, Jameis Winston, and Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think these are the guys that we look at and say they have had plenty of chances in this league, and they just have not made the most of it for whatever reason, whether it's the system that they're in or they're still young or whatever the case is. These guys just have not shown that they can stay healthy. They can lead their teams to wins. There's a plethora of reasons. We can go through them one by one. But Tua Tagovailoa, he's still young, but he did not show anything that impressed me last year. I mean, to the point where I'm almost ready to give up on him, and it was only 1 year. But what I saw from the Dolphins is they had to bring in Ryan Fitzpatrick to close out games because Tua just simply could not get the job done. He was overthinking himself, and I think they have a lot of work to do down in Miami. Teddy Bridgewater, can he stay healthy after that massive injury that he suffered? He has not been the same quarterback. You know, he had one really good year in Minnesota. Can he get back to that form? It seems that it might be a stretch at this point. I think he's going to be at most an average quarterback, and he's still not even at that level. Derek Carr has a lack of weapons around him, except for the tight end position. But John Gruden is his coach, and that's the QB whisperer, and he's still not getting them wins. So I don't really understand what's happening down in Las Vegas, but either way, they're going to have to figure that out. Sam Darnold has not been able to stay healthy. I mean, whether it's mono or getting injured or whatever the case is, seeing ghosts. There's so many things that has gone on with this guy, and it feels like he's been in the league for an eternity, and it's been 3 years. It looks like the Jets' trust is all but ready to move on from him, especially since he was tainted by Adam Gase. Now it's time to move on and say, all right, let's get somebody else in here. Andy Dalton was given some sort of opportunity to join the Chicago Bears because I guess what he showed in Dallas and Cincinnati, he didn't win in Cincinnati. He didn't win last year in Dallas. And Chicago felt the need to bring him in and make him the starter right off the rip. I don't understand that at all, but he's done absolutely nothing in my eyes. Jared Goff, he had one good year, went to the Super Bowl, and got absolutely railed by the Patriots defense. And since then, he has not been the same. He can't stay healthy. A lot of these guys struggle a lot with that. And Jared Goff is not somebody who has a lack of weapons or has a lack of scheme fit. Sean McVay is an incredible, incredible coach, and he can do a lot. Jared Goff just is not performing. It comes down to that. Then you have Jameis Winston out in New Orleans, and Jameis Winston is taking over for Drew Brees. Those are huge shoes to fill, and we just talked about him in the F tier. He had 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. I mean, the 30 touchdowns is great. Can we cut the interceptions in half, please? I mean, throwing the ball to the other team 30 times is absolutely insane. You can't win that way. And Tampa Bay knew it. And that's why they went out and grabbed Tom Brady and ended up winning a Super Bowl the following year. And then obviously Ryan Fitzpatrick. Everybody knows the deal. This guy has been on more teams than probably are currently in the NFL. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, as great as he is to root for, as fun as a guy that he is, he slings the ball and he'll get great stats and yards and everything like that. He'll make it competitive, but at the end of the day, he cannot get the job done. He's not a proven winner. This is why he keeps moving from team to team to team, because he can't bring the W's home.
I'm only going to touch on a couple of these because I think you were a little critical on some of them. Starting with Tua. Tua is a guy who was supposed to sit last year, and then somehow Brian Flores decided that halfway through the season, it's time for him to start, even though we all knew he probably wasn't ready, and Ryan Fitzpatrick was on a hot streak. It didn't make any sense, and so it threw everybody for a loop. He didn't have any chemistry with the first team. In fact, his first team was already hurt because two of the big wide receivers for them opted out, so now you're pretty much left with Devontae Parker and Mike Gesicki, and then you saw Devontae Parker getting injured. I think that Tua just got a rough start, a rough go of it. It was a bad position on Brian Flores for actually starting him. And so I think Tua is an extremely good quarterback. He just has not been given a fair shake. I think that he's going to prove it this year. Now that they have Will Fuller there, they're going to be a very scary team in the AFC. Sam Darnold is another one I think that also has been given a little bit of a rough go of it in the NFL. He's a guy with a ton of talent, and you've seen as of recently with the viral clip going around after Zach Wilson's pro day, Sam Darnold has all of the tangibles you want in a quarterback. I think he also has the intangibles. What he did at USC was spectacular, and I think that he's really been a leader for the Jets, even though they've been on the losing side of football. That's mostly because of Adam Gase and how he ran that ball club. There are a lot of reports that said Adam Gase wasn't even practicing his guys hard. So, they were all just lounging around. There's only so much a player can do. I think Sam Darnold in another system will be extremely explosive and could potentially be an elite quarterback one day. These are guys with a lot of upside. Some guys, though, that are on the end of their career and are going to stick around in the D tier, you said Andy Dalton and Ryan Fitzpatrick. These guys have had plenty of time in the NFL, and there's a reason they're bouncing from team to team to team. It's because they can't win. They can't do it. Fitzpatrick had his best season last year with the Miami Dolphins, but at the end of the day, he can't close it out. He throws a ton of interceptions. He may have some spectacular plays, but that can't be overshadowing his poor play. He does have a lot of inconsistencies in his game, and that's why he's not making it onto a team for more than 3 years in a clip. I think that there were points in each of their careers where they were good, but they never reached elite levels or even average levels.
All right, going off with the C tier next, we have Joe Burrow from the Cincinnati Bengals. We have Carson Wentz, newly acquired to the Indianapolis Colts. Jimmy Garoppolo out in San Francisco. Cam Newton in New England. Ben Roethlisberger with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Baker Mayfield with the Cleveland Browns. Starting off with Joe Burrow, I think this guy has incredible upside. We put him at C tier because we just haven't seen enough to be able to do anything. And it wasn't for a lack of trying. When he was on the field, he was doing great. He was getting his ball club wins. He was helping them succeed and growing this team. This team has been thrust into darkness for years with Andy Dalton under center. Now they bring in Joe Burrow. They're starting to breathe some light into the organization. And then he gets injured. It wasn't a fault of his. He got hit right on the knee. That's not anything that you can say, oh, he's injury prone. It's a freak accident. It happens. And then we move on. I think he has to stay right in the middle, right at C. And we will have to revisit this next year. Carson Wentz, another injury prone guy, but he has shown that when he's on the field, he's a proven winner. He can win with any weapons around him. And in Philadelphia, that is not an easy place to win. It's a very difficult place to play, especially when the team around you is struggling mightily with injuries and age and people who are not trying to play because they don't want to play certain positions. Whatever the case is, it doesn't matter. Carson Wentz, when he was on the field, was absolutely incredible. He, in my eyes, is a high B tier player if he didn't suffer so many injuries. If he can go to Indianapolis and stay healthy, I think next year we'll see him higher than this. Then we go out to San Francisco, take a look at Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he is the personification of the average quarterback. When you're taking a look at a guy who can make all the throws and do all the right things, make the right reads, this is your guy. But when it comes time to make a play in the crunch time, he's not going to be able to do it. He is not going to do anything under pressure. He will not do anything that is going to set himself above the bar. And I think when you're taking a look at average quarterbacks, Jimmy Garoppolo is right there. He is a game manager. He doesn't do anything spectacularly well, and that you can point to and say he belongs in a higher echelon of quarterback. I think he is an average quarterback, and at this point, I don't see exactly where he would end up going outside of the C tier. Then we have Cam Newton. Are we getting 2015 Cam or are we getting 2020 Cam? I guess that's the biggest question. And for me, Cam Newton might have been on the D tier, but I believe that it was more of the fact that he had no preseason, he had no offseason, He got the playbook 2 weeks before the season started. The first 2 weeks, or sorry, the first 3 weeks were absolutely phenomenal for Cam in New England. I mean, he was doing incredible things, and then he got COVID himself, and then everything fell apart. He couldn't throw the ball. He looked like he was sluggish. He looked like he didn't know the playbook. There was a whole mess of things that ended up happening. I think that we can't take a look at last year and say that's the Cam we're going to get. I think we have a pretty average quarterback. He's not going to light it up throwing the ball, but he's a really good athlete, and he's going to be able to extend plays using his legs and create mismatches where he can become a massive running back with the capability of being able to throw the ball. I like Cam as an average quarterback right now with a slight upside, but as of right now, I don't think we're ever going to see 2020 Cam. I don't ever think we're going to see 2015 Cam. It's going to be somewhere right in between. And then Ben Roethlisberger, what a fall from grace this guy has had. He has seen some major signs of diminishment. And at this point, I just think that he is an average quarterback. He can make some throws, but his arm just isn't in it. He has to put his entire body into every single throw. And at this point of his career, he's got about 1 year left, and then it's time to hang him up because there is nothing else that he'll be able to do that he hasn't already done. Everything is happening at a lower and slower level, and I believe that Ben Roethlisberger needs to, he needs to just end his career now and hit the Hall of Fame in 5 years. And then Baker Mayfield, this guy's a game manager. He hasn't done anything spectacularly. He lets his offense run the ball really well with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And then he's got incredible wide receivers that can do a lot of things. Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr. They got Austin Hooper at tight end and David Njoku. I mean, these guys, he's got all the weapons around him, and he still can't win the division. I mean, when you have those types of weapons, if you gave it to some of these other guys, they'd be able to do a lot more with it. So I take a look at Baker Mayfield. I think he's a pretty average quarterback.
Yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow, these guys, I mean, Joe Burrow really hasn't played too much in the NFL, so they're both going to be pretty much playing their first game in the NFL together. And I think that starting out at the C tier is fair. I think that you can't say that they're poor or they're great. They have to prove it still. And so they're going to have to show that this year they're going to make their team better than they were last year. And I fully expect them both to do that. Carson Wentz and Cam Newton, I think these two got a bad go of it last season. I think that they didn't have the weapons around them to perform. They didn't have the time to prepare. Carson Wentz may have been in the system, but he wasn't familiar with these guys. I mean, Travis Fulgham was acquired during the season, and that was his number one target for the rest of the year. I mean, you can't expect a guy like Carson Wentz to perform with. I'm not saying Travis Fulgham's bad, but you can't expect him to perform with Travis Fulgham as his number one wide receiver, and Cam Newton having Jacoby Myers as his number one receiver. You can't expect Cam Newton to perform at an elite level with that as his number one weapon. So I think those guys got a bad go of it. Now that Cam's back in New England with a full offseason and a bunch of new weapons, and Carson is in a new system back with Frank Reich, and he has better weapons, much better weapons, and an offensive line, these guys should perform much better this season. So I think they're going to make a huge jump. Jimmy Garoppolo, Big Ben, I think these guys will be, just like you said, stuck at C tier. I think that Big Ben's on the end of his career, and Jimmy Garoppolo is exactly what you said, game manager, and he does not have the clutch gene, what it takes to be above and beyond a C tier. He cannot do anything. If the game is in his hands, he's going to lose it 9 out of 10 times. Baker Mayfield has all the potential to be an elite quarterback. The thing is, he just isn't consistent. He doesn't know how to manage his emotions. He doesn't know how to just pick his moments, hold on to the ball for the right time. He lets go of the ball prematurely, leads to a lot of turnovers, and it leads to a lot of losses for the Cleveland Browns. This team could be a lot further ahead, but I think that Baker Mayfield is the one holding him back at the moment. So I think that a lot of these guys have a ton of upside. Some of them, though, will be stuck here for the rest of their career.
Next up, we have the B tier, and taking a look at the quarterbacks we have here, we have Kirk Cousins out in Minnesota. We have Lamar Jackson with the Baltimore Ravens, Josh Allen with the Buffalo Bills, Justin Herbert with the Los Angeles Chargers, Kyler Murray with the Arizona Cardinals, Matthew Stafford with the Los Angeles Rams. We have Ryan Tannehill with the Tennessee Titans, Matt Ryan with the Atlanta Falcons, and Dak Prescott with the Dallas Cowboys. Starting off with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has shown time and time again that he is a proven winner. He is everything it takes to start winning. He just has not been able to get over the hump and get to the Super Bowl. He's been so close, but yet so far. He's got a little more work to do. He's just got brand new weapon last year in Justin Jefferson, who ended up being the rookie receiving leader of all time in the NFL. He's got a lot of upside on this team and a lot of work to do on the defense. This team has a lot more holes on it other than Kirk Cousins, and he's still winning games. So that shows you everything you need to know. Lamar Jackson, if there's a dual threat quarterback that you're scared of, it you can either put Michael Vick or Lamar Jackson because those two are basically very similar. Michael Vick was a better thrower, I'll give him that, but Lamar Jackson is a much more electric runner right now than Michael Vick was. And Lamar Jackson has an entire offense predicated to that ability. Michael Vick was a better thrower, so they had a lot more throwing in there. Lamar Jackson, they have plays designed for him to get out into the open field, and then good luck catching him. He's absolutely incredible, a great runner, and somebody that you have to account for on every single play. Josh Allen, this guy has taken the necessary steps every single year. And then the addition of Stephon Diggs put him over the top. And they were just a few plays away from actually representing the AFC in the Super Bowl last year against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Josh Allen is an incredible talent. He's taken a couple years to get his groove and start getting out of the Wisconsin system that he was playing in. But nonetheless, he's here and he's ready to go. Uh, then we have Justin Herbert in with the Los Angeles Chargers, and Justin Herbert showed last year as soon as he took over for Tyrod Taylor that he had exactly what it took to win in this league. He took the league by storm and absolutely dominated every single game he played in. Struggled a little bit with the turnover bug, but he was a rookie. And if you're putting him in this same echelon, I put him and Josh Allen very close to each other. So there's no way I could put him lower than him in another tier. So these guys are right around the same tier. And Justin Herbert, again, is only entering his second NFL season. Kyler Murray, incredibly dominant dual threat quarterback. Love this guy. He can do it all. He can make the throws. He got DeAndre Hopkins in this offense. Now they've added AJ Green. They have incredible talent all around him. It's time to see what this guy can do because he can make all the throws. He can make the runs. He showed that his height is not an issue at all in the NFL. Let's see what this guy can do with all the weapons around him because there's not too many holes left on this team. Is Kyler Murray still the answer? He could end up jumping up to the A tier by this time next year. Matthew Stafford was traded to the Los Angeles Rams this offseason, and they needed to upgrade from D tier Jared Goff to Matthew Stafford. And Matthew Stafford's an incredible thrower of the football. He can make every throw that you want him to on an NFL football field. He has done really well. The problem that he has had is that he has not had a consistent football team around him. He was on a team that has went 0-16, and he came in after that and had to rebuild this entire franchise. Then they brought in Matt Patricia. Well, that was a miserable fail. And now they were picking up those pieces, and he steadied the ship every single time. Now you put him in Los Angeles. They're only a few years removed from the Super Bowl. Love this guy. I think he's going to do incredible things in Los Angeles. Ryan Tannehill, just like Sam Darnold, as soon as Adam Gase left, he started to shine. And we get this Adam Gase stink off of him. And in Tennessee, he did incredible things with Corey Davis, Jonnu Smith, and A.J. Brown. This guy has an incredible talent around him, but he was able to elevate them to the next level, get them into the playoffs almost every single year, and bring them on the brink of showing themselves in the Super Bowl representing the AFC just 2 years ago. Matt Ryan, we know who he is. We've known what he's done all along. He's had an incredible synergy with Julio Jones. He has built this offense into an absolute stud. He can score points with the best of them. This guy is always throwing for 4,000, 5,000 yards a season. Incredible talent, and nothing much more that needs to be said around him. Dak Prescott, this guy has every tool in the book that you're looking for. He can make plays with his legs. He can make every throw on the football field. He's calculated. He does not make a ton of mistakes. And now they put weapons around him. His offensive line got healthy. He's gotten healthy. So I think that at this point, Dak Prescott is in one of those positions where next year he could be up in the A tier if he takes that next leap. He's got Amari Cooper, he's got Michael Gallup, and he's got CeeDee Lamb. Those guys are incredible. Don't forget about that monster behind him in Ezekiel Elliott.
Kirk Cousins, in my opinion, got a bad rap for not spreading the ball around. And when the Vikings had downs, it was all put on Kirk Cousins. It wasn't put on anybody else on the team. Now that the distraction of Stephon Diggs is gone and Justin Jefferson has replaced him, you see this team starting to blossom and come into its own. The team performed extremely well, specifically last year, without even having a defense. And that's mainly because of Kirk Cousins and what he was able to do. I know Dalvin Cook is there, but Kirk Cousins also has a lot of success on this team. Lamar Jackson, like you said, he is someone you have to account for at all times. If you don't, he's going to score a touchdown every single time. He may not be the best thrower of the ball, but he doesn't have to be because he's the best runner of the football. And they're starting to get him more weapons so he can start to progress just like Josh Allen as a thrower. Lamar Jackson might be able to start progressing as a thrower with better weapons. Josh Allen, if he continues to grow at this rate, by year 5, he's going to be where Tom Brady's sitting right now with a ring around his finger, and the sky's the limit for Josh Allen. I think that there's so much potential with him, and he's only getting better, so I can't wait to see what's in store for him in year 4. Kyler Murray, he's a guy I'm on the fence about. We all know this by now. Kyler Murray has had his ups and downs, but this is going to be his make or break year, his prove it year, because DeAndre Hopkins is there. They got J.J. Watt. You have so many pieces that have been added to this team in the last 2 years now, and the team is ready for a Super Bowl run. He's got to deliver. If he doesn't, then he's not the guy. It's simple as that. Matthew Stafford, we all know that he's had his ups in his career. He's had his downs. He's been on a bad team. But we all know that there's so much more to his game, and he is a winner at heart. He can make any team better. So him on the Rams, a team that was so dominant on defense last year, with him on offense, should be the great pairing that we haven't seen. Ryan Tannehill, it's going to be a rocky year for him moving forward without Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith, 2 of his 3 pieces. Now with just A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry's not the best catcher of the ball. Ryan Tannehill's going to have to work with less. So it's going to be a definite test for him. Matt Ryan, he's getting towards the end of his career, and when Julio Jones is not on the field, he doesn't seem to perform that well. Calvin Ridley's a stud, but I don't think that Matt Ryan is really living up to his full potential, or he's not at his peak where he used to be with guys like Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. And Dak Prescott, if this guy could stay healthy, I think he could easily make it into the A tier. He has all the tangibles, all the intangibles. He is a true leader, a guy that you would want on your football team. Even if you had Pat Mahomes, you'd want this guy. He is an absolute monster. And Justin Herbert, he set rookie records. He's going to continue to set rookie records. Where we say Josh Allen is in year 3, that's where Herbert was in year 1. So I can't imagine where Herbert is going to be in year 2, and so on and so forth. He is going to be one to watch out for a long time.
And last and definitely not least, we have the A tier quarterbacks here, starting off with the GOAT himself, Tom Brady down in Tampa Bay, Russell Wilson out in Seattle, Patrick Mahomes with the Kansas City Chiefs, Aaron Rodgers with the Green Bay Packers, and Desean Watson with the Houston Texans. Starting off with Tom Brady, obviously this guy's the GOAT. He is 43 years of age and still performing at a peak level. This guy is defying every single thought that we had about the age concept in the NFL at the quarterback level specifically, and just tearing it to shreds. And as they like to say on ESPN, Father Time has no idea where this guy lives. I mean, he's probably still searching in New England for Tom Brady. That's how lost Father Time is. I mean, let's be real. Moving over, Russell Wilson with Seattle. This guy's a proven winner. He does it with the best of them. Him and Pete Carroll have been winning for many, many years now. And he won a Super Bowl. He went to another one, almost won that one as well. Thank you, Malcolm Butler. And ever since then, they had a fall with the defense and a couple other pieces, but they've been in constant rebuild. They're constantly in the fight for the NFC title. Look for them to be there again next year because these guys are just they're always there. Russell Wilson is going to keep leading them to success. Patrick Mahomes, I mean, holy hell, the best throw of the football that I have ever seen in the NFL, period. There's not a single person that I've ever seen throw the football better than this guy. He's a proven winner. He's already won a Super Bowl. He went to another one. He can do absolutely anything you ask him to do. Patrick Mahomes, he's young, he's talented, he's a proven winner, he's a proven leader. There's not much more to say about this guy. We all understand why he's in the A tier. Aaron Rodgers, he went to a Super Bowl, he won a Super Bowl. He has done everything. We all know that this guy's absolutely incredible. He makes any throw you want in clutch moments. This guy shines. He has almost as many fourth quarter comebacks and lead changes as Tom Brady does in half as much time. So Aaron Rodgers, incredible talent. He still has a lot more to give to this game. I'm looking forward to what he can do with the Packers. And then Desean Watson, he can bomb it with the best of them. He can utilize his legs with the best of them. If you want to take the feet of Lamar Jackson and the arm of Russell Wilson or the arm of Aaron Rodgers and put the two together, that's what you get with Desean Watson. This guy's an absolute stud, phenomenal player, one of a kind. And Dabo Sweeney was right. There's only one Desean Watson, and we are seeing exactly why in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Brady, he's the GOAT. There's no question about that. And Patrick Mahomes is creeping up behind him, making that a real conversation piece. Aaron Rodgers is the reigning MVP. There's no question there. Russ and Deshaun Watson, those two in particular, are super special because for the early part of Russ's career, he didn't have big name weapons until he made guys like Golden Tate and Tyler Lockett household names. He made those guys, and he didn't have an offensive line for the entire time. Him running for his life, making special plays, is how Russell Wilson got to be where he is. If Russell Wilson had an offensive line, if he had top tier weapons like he does now, this man, he is greatness. He truly is. And Deshaun Watson, he has not had a break in his career. He had DeAndre Hopkins in the early part and a young Will Fuller, but he struggled with offensive line issues. He was another one to run for his life and make spectacular plays. These guys are a show by themselves. They don't need to have elite players around them. They'll make players elite. And that's what makes them so special, and that's why they're A tier.
All right, well, that's going to do it for now. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.